Happy New Year. 2025 is underway. What are you believing for this year? The whole world is your oyster. Let nothing stop you. Let nothing get in the way. Let's make it happen. All right, welcome back to our Speak Life podcast. I'm your host, Mark Mead. I got a very special guest today who is very young, crushing his industry as a founder and entrepreneur of Wolfpack Financial Group. And I'm just excited to have my man Stan Smith in the building with me today to talk about some of the things he's doing as an entrepreneur to cold crush his industry and bring others along with him. Sowing seeds, encouraging, and showing others the way is what we do here. So, Stan, welcome to the podcast, man. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm living life. It's always a blessing being on here with you, so I'm excited to be here.
It's a blessing to have you, bro. And the times that we've talked and just like the times that we've done different interviews and things like that, dude, your energy is so infectious. It's almost like, and I remember you saying to me, this has kind of always been you. Like, even at the gym, you were like, pulling people and helping people understand, like, but you've always found a way to overcome. Can you give everybody on here a little bit of a deeper dive into some of your story and how you became an entrepreneur? Why is this your vehicle of choice?
I mean, it ties back into when I was a kid. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, kind of the cornfields. So you learn how to do a lot of things out there, but everybody I always talk to, you know, my whole family, I see how they're living, and I just always knew, like, you know, the family home aspect is nice, the love is nice, but, like, I wanted more. And growing up, everybody always was telling me, you know, you're going to be great, you're going to be great, you're going to be great.
You've always heard that.
Yeah. And it was a blessing and a curse. At a young age, it was a curse. Now, being 21, worth $1 million, it's a blessing because I understand what they were saying back then. You know, back then, I was always held to extremely high standards.
Why?
I don't know, man. I was just like you said, that personality I have, that energy. It was like that back then, man. I understand people very well.
Yeah.
And all people, for the most part, no matter where they're at or who they are, there's an element of people that's going to be the same.
Right.
And a lot of people are never going to be able to figure it out for themselves. So me being in the place I am, I make sure I just kind of create their life or create a roadmap for them to where they don't have to figure it out. They can just follow it and think that they're figuring it out for themselves. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So even like back then, I put smiles on people's faces. And from a young age, like I can walk into a room and say, okay, Mark's not happy today. But I know what makes Mark happy. And I'm just, whether I enjoy it or not, I'm going to do something that's going to make you laugh and make you happy. I've been able to sense that energy from a young age. So I just always put other people before me. And even today, I still do the same thing. So.
All right, so now I love that you're saying that from a young age you had that energy. How did that play out in like school, and how did that play out in like the work, like your beginning of work life?
Well, school, that's work, man, you know. So but in school, I'll be honest, the town I grew up in, being the I don't want to say star because it sounds kind of cocky, but just being the light that I was, you know, a lot of people dimmed it. A lot of people didn't like that. So I never really fit into a specific group down there. You know, I had a lot of friends and a lot of people liked me. I liked a lot of people, but I was never the most liked by anybody. You know, there was always somebody that had an issue with something I was doing. So it was like I was kind of pushed out. I was the best player on the basketball team. But,
really?
Yeah, but nobody wanted me to be the best. Somebody else was. I don't know, man. It was just.
I get it. People aren't like.
Honestly, man, I grew up kind of an asshole.
Okay,
you know?
Got it.
So that's probably what it was, and it's something I've learned a lot. It's why I'm so mellow now. I wasn't growing
That's awesome.
up. But from a young age, everything I did, it was never like I'm doing it right. It was like I'm learning.
Got it.
So that was important. You know, growing up, I seen how I treated people, how people responded to it, and stuff like that. I read their energies. And I understood what I kind of needed to become as I got older.
That's good.
So, but I was definitely an asshole back then. You know, not by choice, dude. Obviously, I didn't want to.
Right.
But it was like when you're really good at things, it just tends to come off, whether you mean for it to or not, that you're better than other people.
Did that come in? Was that inside your family structure? Like, did you have brothers and sisters? Were y'all competitive? Was it mom and dad, or was it just something that you kind of morphed into as your adolescence turned into a teenager?
So my parents were never married. I think they were split up before I was even old enough to remember. I don't ever remember a time where they were together. So I was living, there was supposed to be 50-50. They never went to court. There was no child support, nothing like that. I don't really know where I was.
Sure.
I was pretty sure I spent the majority of the time at my dad's.
Got it.
At my dad's, I was a single child. So I was the only one. At my mom's, I had 2 sisters. And then down the road, I obviously ended up with a little brother. Actually, I have 2 little brothers now.
Got it.
I've never even met one of them. But
Got it.
mainly it was the 2 sisters. One of them was a step sibling. So she was never really around. She was always at her mom's. So I really only ever had the one. And there was definitely competition there. We always butted heads, you know. I was always the smartest. She thought she was the smartest. So if you're watching this, it was always me. But, you know, she was very smart. But we butted heads there. But at my dad's, I was an only child, you know. But you'd think it would not be competitive there. Me and my dad butted heads like crazy, you know. Like literally, you know, there would be times where I'm probably 10, 11 years old. We're fighting, you know, we're getting into it physically, you know. So been headbutted a few times, you know. He always had a tape measure on him. He'd pull his tape measure out and smack me with it. It was like we went back and forth because I always wanted to figure it out. I always wanted to understand. I always wanted to learn. He didn't want that. He wanted to tell me how to do it. He wanted to tell me how it was going to be done. He wanted me to follow in his footsteps.
Got it.
And I'm just, you know, I'm not that kind of guy, man.
Makes sense.
So.
You balked the trend.
100%.
No doubt. So there started a work life, right? And what did you start with?
I want to say, I started with McDonald's.
Okay.
I think McDonald's was the first
Now
job I ever had.
Was it because you wanted work experience, because you wanted to make money?
Money.
Money, got it.
Yeah.
So that turned into what?
I worked at McDonald's for like a month. I was waking up at like 4 a.m.
Ah!
I was the opener guy. And even like my second day there, I was teaching other people how to do things, you know, and then by the first week there, I was 18 probably. Honestly, I have no idea, maybe 17.
Wow, okay.
It was in the summer in between high school. So, you know, I was there for like 2 weeks in, and like if the manager wasn't there or something, I was the one running the show. I was just, because it's just like these people were just showing up to things, dude. Right. I never wanted to show up. It's not fun.
That's true.
You know, I always wanted to do things good. I always wanted to move with speed. Like I wanted to have fun while I was doing it. Just standing there at the window, just taking orders, just being boring. That's boring, man. I don't want to be boring. I don't want to live a basic life. You know, so I was just taking initiative, having fun, trying things, implementing stuff. Like if a client had a customer coming through the drive-thru, had an issue, you know, he's yelling at somebody, their first instinct is to yell back and stuff like that. I get on there, hey man, how you doing? Listen, how can we figure this out? Go ahead and pull up. You know, I wanted to figure things out and create solutions.
That's amazing. And so eventually you made it to the gym, which is like, if I remember it correctly, it was more sales, yeah?
It was, but it wasn't like when people hear that, it's like, okay, he just went to the gym and it was a sales. It wasn't. Right. When I started at the gym, it was the local gym I was working at, and I worked out there probably for half a year.
Before you even joined them.
I was just going in there working out. And at that time, I was like raking fields on the baseball. Like I'd go and drag it behind a tractor, and I was getting paid like $700 a week doing it. I was making decent money.
Yeah, sure.
I worked for 3 hours on Sunday. Yeah, $700 a week. It was good money. So I was working out there, and all the employees knew me, and everybody hated working there. You know, they liked it, but like they were all, like I said, they just showed up. Gym. Yeah, they just showed up and just worked. They weren't doing anything special, and everybody there talked about how, yeah, dude, you don't make any money. You're only making $2-3 grand a month. There's not anybody clients for real. You can't do anything, yada yada. And it was just so much drama. So I never like applied for a job there. I was there working out one day, and my boss came up to me and said, or ex-boss, obviously, he came up to me and he said, hey, Stanley, you free for a second? He's this Australian dude. He's got this crazy accent, or not Australian, South African, but he's got this crazy thick accent. And he pulled me over. Really respectful guy. I learned a lot from him, thankfully. But he pulled me over. He said, hey, have you ever thought about training somebody? I see you always helping people in the gym. You want to be a personal trainer? I was like, never really thought about it. 2 days later, I started the job.
Love it.
And I was supposed to be a trainer. I was shadowing. The lady I was shadowing, I couldn't stand her. But they ended up having me close one night. And that night, I sold 9 memberships. People there were selling like 15, 20 memberships.
So wait, trainers were designed to sell memberships?
No. They were supposed to train. But I picked up a closing shift because the closer wasn't there.
Okay.
And there was another dude. He was a trainer. He needed to be training. They needed somebody at the front. I sold 9 memberships that night.
Wait, before we go a step further, obviously you're talking about your initiative and your ability to like kind of take the bull by the horns. What propelled you to start? That's so unusual, which is great. That's why we're here right now.
Yeah.
That's so unusual. What psychologically propelled you to start doing that?
And, you know, believe it or not, you wouldn't believe me if I told you I was just doing my job. It's crazy how easy it was. I went up there. They were running a promotion. Buy 1 year, get 2 years free, or like buy one, get one. So if you bought a year, you got a 2-year membership for the price of one.
Got it, yeah.
How easy is that to sell? And these people are just, if somebody sees the promotion, they ask about it, you sign them up, right? That's what they're doing.
Right.
Well, no, I want to tell people about the promotion. This is awesome, dude. Why would they not get the 2 years?
Correct.
So I'm calling people.
Love it.
You know, I'm just up there. I'm bored. I can sit up there and just wait on people to walk in.
Love it.
Or I can make stuff happen while I'm up there. I can work. I can create, you know. And that was one of the biggest motivations is that boss that I had. He told me every time we met, he said something about you, Stanley. He used this word. He said, you're a creator. Yeah. And that's what he always said. And that really inspired me to like make stuff happen. Because I like that instilled, you talk about the belief I have. Yeah. I mean, dude, I got this dude that knows nothing about me. I've worked with him for 8 months. And every time I see him, he tells me I'm a creator. That's belief right there. It inspired me a lot to 100%. Go and do what I've done now. So
doubt. That's huge. And I remember that. I remember us talking about that. It obviously brings us to the insurance world where your business is right now, Wolfpack, and what you guys are doing. I know your journey, but for our audience, how did you get into insurance and why insurance?
Timing, man. Timing's everything. I wasn't looking to get into insurance. I didn't know what insurance was. You know, I was looking to make money. I was looking to grow. You know, at the gym, even my current boss was like, you know, hey, you're a creator. You're special. You need to do something with it. And everybody there was always telling me, all these people I'm selling memberships to, you're really good at this, man. And I had this guy, Dr. Lauren. He worked out at our gym. And he was always talking to me, man, you're really good at this. You got to do more. And it just so happened at this phase in my life where I have 10 people a day telling me I need to take my talents elsewhere and like explore something, I get a very random DM on Instagram. It was like, hey, Stanley, we're looking for young, driven people that work out at the gym for a sales opportunity. You keep your opportunities open. Wow. And I was like, this is some BS, you know, 100%. But like, I like to have fun. I like to create conversations. I was like, oh, yeah, of course I do. What do you got for me? Ended up hopping on a call with who we know now as Rena. And that's how I got started. And that was in January. I didn't even get licensed until like April 21st. Wow. It took me like 4 months because I was battling so hard with like, I'm loved here. I love it here. Right. You know, I have a future here. But what is that future? That future is making $8-10 grand a month. Okay. That's not a future. Right. Yeah, I have a life down the road. Everybody does. But is your future really a future? Right. Or is it more like a nightmare that you're walking into? Jeez. Is it more just the same thing? You know? And everybody thinks that what's in front of them is a future. But for me, like a future was like my dream life. My future was what I wanted to create. So, I started looking around and it just so happened timing's everything, man. If I would have got that DM any other time, probably would have never responded because it was clearly some garbage, you know? Who texts somebody out the blue? And especially like Rena, like no disrespect, she's in her 30s. I'm 19, 20 at that time, you know? I have no idea who she is. Her page is all about family and Christ and all this stuff. And I'm like texting me about an opportunity. Who responds to that? You know what I mean? So timing's everything, man. But at the same time, if you're just always in a position for the next door, you know, you'll be ready to walk through it when it opens.
That's true. So the timing just aligned. But it took you 4 months to get your license.
It did.
So what about the opportunity did you believe? Like, when did you start to believe that this was actually a real thing for you? Because it started off as this is some BS, someone I don't know, her page doesn't match what I'm doing, why are you in my DMs? All that stuff, which is natural, but then you still go get your license.
Yeah. Here's the deal, Mark. I never believed in the opportunity. I believed in myself.
Got it.
I mean, dude, I know anywhere I go, doesn't matter where. Take the gym, for example. I was making $6 grand a month at a gym that people told me I could only make 2 at. Right. You know, just from selling memberships. So it was like, well, people see me crazy successful at the gym. Well, Stanley, when did you think the gym was going to work out for you? I didn't. I thought I was going to work out. Right. You know, I knew I could go in there and make something happen. Yeah. Same thing. You know, we got these people. Obviously, Steve Giordano was underneath Rob. So when I get on the call with Rob, he's using Steve as like a sales pitch. Like, hey, this guy look at what he's making. And the thing is if there's an opportunity to make money, I know I can be good at it. Right. So it wasn't like, when did I realize it was real? I never knew. By the time I got my license and like by my 3rd week in the business, I still had no idea what I was doing. I had a script and leads. I was just calling people. I'd never been paid. I don't know how I get paid. I don't know what was going on. But I just knew if other people could do it, I could do it better.
Makes sense. I love that so much right now. Like, I want to reiterate right now, you're a 21-year-old. Like, when did you start in the business, in the insurance business?
May of last year,
How
I was
old were
20.
you? 20. You started in the business at 20. You're a 21-year-old, very successful entrepreneur. I love what you said about believing in yourself. Can you stare into the camera and tell people, like, why believing in yourself is more important than anything else? Because our community is the entrepreneur. Like, we're literally trying to speak life into the entrepreneur. And based on what you're saying, I think this is a perfect segue.
The reality of it is, guys, is your parents obviously are going to believe in you, but it's an internal feeling more of an external feeling. When people tell you they believe in you, they could be lying because they love you, which a lot of your parents do. The reality of it is something has to click inside of you that's just like this fire, this feeling of like, I can achieve anything I set my mind to. And that's what we call belief, and that's what we call confidence or belief. That's what's inside of me. So when you start to look at it, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is ever going to give you that internal feeling of belief. And in order to like really set fire to things and really make stuff happen, like you have to have that feeling. You have to have some sort of, no matter what happens, I can figure it out. Believing in yourself isn't saying that I can go and do this and be the best at it. Believing in yourself isn't, I'm going to be the richest person alive. Nobody can stop me. Right. Believing in yourself is knowing no matter what happens, good, bad, or ugly, I will be okay and can figure it out. Like, guys, I'm not saying I believe in myself to the point where, nothing bad's ever going to go wrong in my life. I can do anything. Stuff's going to go bad. I can end up homeless, or I can end up in debt, or I can end up, losing everything. I will be okay.
Right.
And I'm still going to do it with a smile on my face because I know I can overcome these things. Unless I am literally dead, there's nothing that can stop me or ever make me think that I can't come back from this, I can't recover. And that's what belief is. So you just have to look at yourself and say that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay and I'm going to make it through it. And I think that's the real meaning of belief.
That's huge, bro. Like, whoa. This is why successful people are successful. Stan, you're just getting started, bro. Like, this thing is going to continue to go, and you're going to continue to grow and adapt. I love it. Now, your career or time so far in the insurance industry, obviously the insurance industry is endless. It doesn't have caps and things that you can really continue to grow in an industry like that. When you see where you started in the industry and like your ability to become a sales leader, right? Before you became a business leader, what was the transition from a sales leader to a business leader where you're now leading people?
I wouldn't say that like mentally there was a mental shift, because there wasn't. I had the same vision from day one. Like there's no ceiling to it. I knew that from day one.
Did you see yourself recruiting people day one?
Yes.
Why?
That's the business.
Ah!
It's like I just hired you to sell cars. Did you see yourself selling cars from day one? Well, no, I thought it'd take me time to sell cars. Why are you trying to sell cars then? That doesn't make sense. I'm not going to wait to start trying to sell cars. My job is to sell cars. I'm going to start trying day one and figure out what happens. This goal, this industry, nobody that's rich in this industry did it from selling insurance. Or nobody that's wealthy, nobody that has a lot to their name did it from selling insurance.
They started selling it. They like...
Right.
But
I'm saying like you can get rich from selling insurance.
Correct.
You're not going to get wealthy from selling insurance.
Yeah, correct. So
and I'm talking about like multi-millionaire.
Yeah, gotcha.
6 figures, 7, 8, 9 figures.
Sure, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to do that from long-term selling insurance. You don't want to sell insurance for the rest of your life.
Correct.
Those people that are selling $1 million or plus a year of insurance, they're working 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that for the rest of your life. The vision from day one was build a business. Right? Now, to your point, some people are going to have to sell insurance for 3-4 years. Some people are going to have to sell insurance for a year or 2. And they're going to have to do it at a very high level because you have to have proof of concept, because there's no way I'm going to sit across from Mark and tell him that I can make him $10,000 a month selling insurance, but I've never been able to do that for myself.
Right.
So like I sold $550,000, $600,000 of insurance in my first year, year and a half. I think in my first 12 months, I sold over $420,000. So, I did it, but I understood the goal long term. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are so selfish, man. I just don't get it. you know, and a lot of people want to come in and they want to try to build themselves a business by getting a lot of people to sell insurance. I tell every single person I bring on from day one, I don't want you to sell insurance for the rest of your life. You know, I want there to be something bigger for you. I want there to be a next step for you. And I want to help you find it as well.
Sure.
You know, and in order to do that, I need you to develop as a person and as a leader. And here's the best part about it. You're not going to be a good leader day one.
Right.
And that's okay. That's
Right.
why I'm here. I'm going to help you become one, because I wasn't.
Right.
I turned and burned agents for the first 6 months of recruiting, for the first year of recruiting, you know? And then it got to a point where, oh, shoot, everybody I'm recruiting now isn't leaving. Everybody's staying.
Right.
I'm doing something right.
Right.
Let me do it better.
Yeah.
Let me do it better. Let me do it better. Over and over and over. So it took a long time. Long time. It's been a year and a half. feels like a long time when I was doing it.
Yeah.
But it took me, so let's speak in time, rather in time, let's speak in failures.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a lot of failures to become a good leader.
Sure.
But here's the deal is, like I told you on that podcast the other day, I'm going to put so many attempts up and so many failures as quickly as possible. Because if I have to fail 1,000 times to be good at something, it's going to take me a month to fail 1,000 times, because I'm going to push myself to the limit constantly. I don't want those 1,000 failures to take 2 years.
Correct.
So when I say it took a long time, what I'm saying is I went through a lot of stuff very, very quickly.
By design.
By design.
Correct.
But that's how it's been my whole life, man. I'm 21 years old. Even like, not to get crazy on here, but even like some of the grown women I'm with and stuff like that, they're like, Stanley, you're wise beyond, they always say like crazy stuff. You know how older people talk, wise beyond your ages, or you have an old soul. I've put myself through so much in such a short period of time because I'm at war.
Oh.
I want to be good at this. I want to figure it out. You know, I want to be really good at life.
Right.
And that's not about being happy and being complacent. That's about like being good at it, completing levels, achieving goals. Mm-hmm. So you got to put yourself through a lot.
Right. Dude, I love it. There's a lot to what you're saying about really overcoming challenges, really, and being triumphant in. See, I think people have the definition of winning sometimes skewed, because it's not. Winning is like straight up preparation. It's straight up perseverance in the eye of the storm. After every battle, you may not be holding up the belt or the MVP or the crown, but if you can outwork, if you can outprepare, if you can outlast, you have the ability to win. And so what I hear you saying is that you're just going to be ready no matter what for what's coming next. And when you think about some of the challenges that you face now as an entrepreneur running a very successful insurance agency, what are some of those challenges? I mean, we're dealing with people at high scale, right? Like high scale. What are some of the challenges that you face, and what are some of the things you do to overcome them?
Honestly, dude, you're going to laugh when I say it, but I think my number one challenge right now is it not being challenging enough. I love going to war, man. I like fighting battles. I like figuring stuff out, and right now it's going too smoothly. That's always a scary thing. I don't like when it's not challenging. So, you know, one of the biggest things I'm struggling with right now are finding problems or figuring out things that are going to put so much on my plate that I have to work hard. You know what I mean? I knew you were going to laugh.
I love it, though.
So,
because it's great.
Other than that, my biggest challenge now is what I did in the beginning that I was really good at is understanding people. I spent a lot of time unrelated to insurance with my agents, just understanding them as a person and like breaking down their life, breaking down the things that mean a lot to them, and making sure that we can figure out a way to incorporate that into the business so that they felt fulfilled being here. Now, as we scale so much, I have so many people, I just don't create those relationships anymore like I used to. There hasn't been somebody that came through my door in the last 4 months that I've really created a bond with like I have with my first 20 agents. And that's something that like keeps me up at night, because it's like, dude, you know, I know the power I have in people's lives, and I'm trying to get my managers to a point where they can be like me and instill that same belief and same power into the people they bring on. But some of them just aren't doing it. So I feel so bad for those newer people coming in. It's like, keeps me up at night trying to figure out how can I not overstep but still help this person out and take them under my wing and create that bond with them, because I want to see everybody succeed, dude.
Right.
It's so much more fun. And you think it's like, oh, Stanley's like such a great person. He wants to see everybody win. No, I want to see everybody win so that I can win that much more, because I'm not going to let anybody beat me. So when I'm in a room full of losers and I'm the only winner, I'm a loser.
Right.
Because they're not, what are they pushing me towards? You know, there's nobody that's pushing me to be better. I'm just a loser, you know, and that's the issue now in today's world, is we have so many people that are in a room full of losers calling themselves a winner.
Wow.
You know, so I want to go win with the winners. I want to go beat the winners, you know? So that's why I want everybody to win.
Right.
Because I don't want to tear you down to beat you. I want you to be the best. I want you to be the fastest, the most complete package possible. Yeah. And then I still want to be better than you.
No doubt.
So
it does create, it's a weird way to go me versus me, but the way you just explained it, it's still you versus you. I think that like what I relate this to, I'm going to go left right now, but every time in sports, I love best on best. Like I hate seeing you when you're injured or you're not at your best.
Or with an excuse or anything like that.
Right. I want you at your very best.
So you know what I used to do?
Listen.
I'd play people one-on-one. And in order for it to be the best, whatever amount of money I had in my bank account was the max I'd be willing to bet, right? But let's say you're better than me. I don't care. Bet me. How much you want to bet me? You want to bet me $100? Perfect. I'm going to put 200 up against your 100. If you beat me, you're going to get $200. And then you know what I do when I win every time? You know how much money I made from betting people? Zero. You know how much I lost? Not much, because I always won. But what I would do is I'd say, if you were going to pay me, I was going to take that money and I was going to give it away to whoever was on the sideline clapping for me the most, not Hayden.
Wow.
Or I'd say, keep your money. I don't want it. But at the beginning of every game, I was going to bet you a lot of money. And then whatever you were willing to put up, I was going to double it. So you'd try that much harder. Because I didn't want to go against you if you weren't trying. I didn't want to go against, like, I didn't want your money. I didn't want to bet you. You know, I'm not like a gambling addict. But, you know, like, it wasn't about that for me. It was, I wanted competition. I wanted to work hard. I didn't want to get out there and you just play around and just have fun, or, you know, you not take it that serious. You know, and then what I'd also do is I'd put handicaps on myself. You know, I'd be like, every point you shoot's worth 2. Every point I shoot's only worth 1. And make it take it for you, not make it take it for me.
Now, how good are you at basketball?
I'm good.
I'm looking at like kind of your hop right now, like the way you're moving your legs. I'm saying this guy probably has some hops. You got energy, natural energy. You can get up?
I can get up.
I bet you're good, yo.
I'm not bad.
How's your dribble? How's your passing skills?
Passing,
dribbling.
I like to shoot. I like to hold on to the ball, so I can make some nice passes. But like, I probably wasn't gonna pass it. That's my thing. I don't shoot. Like I'll knock down any shot I take, but I'm not gonna take it.
Right.
I want to take you to the hole.
Got you.
That's what I'm great at.
You yamming on cats?
I'm yamming.
Stop it.
We can go there right now, dude. I'm throwing them down. I'll put one in there. I'm not doing no between the legs.
Bro, I'm too old
or
for this. Knees ain't what they used to be.
Yeah.
That's
we'll let
crazy.
You stand in the corner and throw me lobs.
How tall are you officially? You're like 6, yeah?
I wish. I'm 5'10" and a half on paper. Okay. But if anybody asks,
you're
6 foot. But I'm 5'10" and a half on paper. The half's important though. It's basically 5'11". So I'm 5'11" on paper.
I love it, bro. Oh man, that's so funny. Listen, as a very young man who's, like you said, you want to be great at life, you're figuring things out, you figure it out on the fly, you're not afraid of challenges or what's coming in front of you. What advice would you give to someone who's entering their beginning stages of entrepreneurship? I don't care what level, because at a certain stage in entrepreneurship, you're young, right? Early entrepreneurs are early entrepreneurs are early entrepreneurs. They could be 31, they could be 41, they could be 21. Doesn't matter. But when you're first starting, the amount of confidence is it lacks big time. You haven't taken the reps, you haven't done some of the things. What advice would you give to someone that is looking to stay in the fight and actually overcome their challenges, overcome their own mental challenges, the stuff that kind of creeps in, the doubts that tells them they cannot or there are not? What advice would you give to that person?
You got to be really good at stepping away from it and just looking at it. Because when I started, you don't tell yourself that when you start, it's all going to go good. Like you don't. Day one, you tell yourself this is going to be a process. You fall in love with the journey and you believe in yourself. No matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. So when the doubt creeps in, I say, here it is, man. Oh, it's getting dark. But listen, I don't care if it's going to be a day, a week, or a month that this doubt's going to be around. I'm going to be okay. So we're going to stick to it. We're going to keep going, you know, and you just never stop. You just keep moving forward. Even when it gets tough, like, dude, you know, I've been making well over 20 grand a month since I started. You know, I'm making 6 figures a month now. But even like there was times probably 4 or 5 months ago where it was lonely. It was dark. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. I didn't know if I was on the right journey. You know, I never, ever thought about giving up. It wasn't a thought I had to overcome. It was more a thought of like, how long is this thought going to be around for? Because I need to get past it because I got things to achieve. Right. You know, so nice. The number one piece of advice I would give is think before you move. Once you move, do it without thought. And what I mean by that is you thought about it. You want to pursue this. Okay, boom. I want to be an entrepreneur. This is what I want to do. Now, once you go into it, do it without thought. Don't think about if you made the right choice. Don't think about if you're doing it wrong. Don't think about if you're doing it right. Don't think about if I could switch companies and it's going to help me out more here or anything like that. Just think about what you can control and do what you can control and just work for it every single day. When it gets dark, when it's bright, doesn't matter. I'm still on the same path. This is my journey, right? And I'm going to walk through nice neighborhoods and I'm going to walk through not nice neighborhoods, but I'm going to stay on this path until I get to my neighborhood because that's where I'm going. You know, and that's the reality of it is. So it's actually a saying I came up with, that one right there. But like, I'm not telling you, obviously, use your brain. You know, when things are going wrong, think about how to fix them. But like, don't think about what is going on as far as the journey is. You know, don't think about whether you're doing it right or wrong, man. Just go, just do it. Right. Full force. Go all in, first of all. Don't ever have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That'll never work. Go 100% in, have that internal belief for yourself, and then don't think about your decision, just perform and operate.
That's strong. When you think about insurance as a vehicle, insurance as a product or service to help people, right? There's a good portion of like, hey, you're doing something that's really noble. You know, in the insurance world, we're doing things that really, really help people. Yes, the money is great and agents are being helped and people are growing. Voila, right? And so, but also, the more agents you hire, the more policies your team sells, the more protection you're putting out there in the world for people to have more insurance. When you see that as a difference maker, you know, how do you view that and how do you help people understand the value of life insurance?
I think that's the number one issue with new agents is they don't think it's real. You know, the number one thing I preach in my agency is you don't got to be good at sales. That is a human being on the line. Right. That's a real human. That's someone's grandma. That's someone's mother. That's someone's sister, daughter, vice versa for a male. You know, that's a real human. Have a conversation with them. Get to understand their situation. Don't sell them a product. Don't sell them a price. Sell them their situation, you know, and break it down. So when you get a new agent to understand that, hey, you're actually helping somebody. And a lot of times, man, no matter how many times you tell them, it's going to take that first death claim that pays out to change somebody's perspective. Like, oh, cow, this is real. Right. You know? But once that happens, dude, this is the easiest industry in the world. Right. It truly is. But when you get in there, a lot of people just see the money and they're just like burning through stuff and looking at the number in their bank account and looking at the number of leads they're buying or whatever the case is. They don't realize that, like, that's a real human being. Amen. And it's hard because I'm in New Jersey right now. I could be selling to someone in Ohio. Right. I'm never going to go to Ohio. Right. You know, I'm never going to see that person in my life. So it's just like a conversation I had on the phone that paid me money, but it was a conversation with a human. Right. And that translates back to all humans have similarities. That's something I know to be true and know very well. So it's easy for me to sell because I understand people. I understand how to break it down. Right. And so when you get to grasp that, like, these are real people, real situations, they're going through real stuff. You know, they got bills to pay. They got bills that are paid. They got family issues. They got not family. You know, whatever the case is, like, they have real problems going on in their life. You just need to be able to create that image for them and relate to it. Right.
How real did it become to you when you got your first death claim?
I don't even think I've got a death claim yet.
Not yet.
I'm selling healthy people, I guess. Actually, I got one the other day, probably a week ago. It didn't become real to me because it was already real. So there wasn't a shift. I already knew what I was doing. It was just like, okay, boom, I'm gonna process this claim.
Yeah, and what I realize when it comes to salespeople, especially new salespeople, they're dealing more with themselves and how uncomfortable they feel when it comes to an objection, when it comes to facing, telling a client the truth. When it comes to, it's more like they're uncomfortable or afraid with what they deal with internally, like maybe if I said this in my own family, they'd be mad about the $30 versus the death benefit. And so you're kind of learning a lot how to come outside of yourself and put the client first. A lot of times putting the client first is making the client uncomfortable. Now it makes you uncomfortable first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you become uncomfortable, and a lot of people then go zip and don't say the thing, right? Because they were uncomfortable first, and then they don't want their uncomfort to be portrayed into the client's vision, where the truth is the client needs to be told the truth no matter what, because this is what it is.
So let's take that perspective that you just said. Let's take that out of the client. This is an entrepreneur podcast, right? Let's take that out of the client. You need to be told the truth no matter what. I need to be told the truth no matter what. Who's going to tell me it? It's got to be myself.
Right.
It's got to be myself.
Right.
If I ever want to be successful, dude, I cannot lie to myself. Just like if I want to make a sale or complete that goal of making that sale, I have to make the client uncomfortable.
Right.
Same concept, dude. If I ever want to achieve what I got to do, I got to make myself uncomfortable. You know how I'm going to do it? It's going to be by telling myself the truth.
Right.
It's going to be when I wake up at 8:05 instead of 8 a.m., not patting myself on the back because I got up early, down on myself because I didn't get up when I said I was going to.
Right.
Things like that. It's going to be the little stuff where I'm just honest with myself. It's going to be putting my ego to the side. When I get into an argument with you, I'm not going to walk away and tell myself I'm right. I'm going to walk away and understand why we got into that argument or something like that. And then I'm going to say, this is what I could have done better.
That's strong.
I'm not going to ever just pat
huge.
myself on the back. I'm going to learn from everything because I'm honest with myself.
I love you saying this, and I want to transition with this question. When you see yourself as a leader, how do you envision yourself as a leader? How do you envision yourself growing deeper as a leader? Because that's a lot of what you just said stems that way. But I want to hear how you envision yourself as a leader.
It changes, man, because I envision my vision that I want to be is, loved, respected, caring, and I want to be somebody that can really change everybody's lives. That's not going to always be the case. Might not be the case for some of the people in my agency right now because I'm learning and adapting every single day. Sometimes I see myself as an arrogant asshole, just for lack of better words, man. But I'm honest with myself. I tell myself, hey, Stanley, you were a butthole back then. Or yesterday, you shouldn't have said that. And I make amends. Like, I don't have a problem calling an agent after I just grilled them and telling them, hey, this is what's true. This is where I shouldn't have. This is where I overstepped. I want to apologize for that. But this part does remain true. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, man. We do got to fix that. How I delivered it was wrong. Right.
Fair enough.
Because I'm never going to back down or I tell people the truth and I'm brutally honest, and some people don't like it.
Right.
And sometimes I say it, if they give me a little pushback, I get a little grouchy or whatever. But it's all things that I'm growing and developing on.
Right.
Like, I'll never sit here and tell the camera I'm perfect. I'll never sit here and tell you I'm perfect or everybody loves me or whatever.
Right.
That's a lie, dude. I'm honest with myself.
Sure.
But I see myself as water. Everybody's going to need it. Everybody wants it. But it's also very flexible and always changing, I'm going to do what I have to do to always protect myself and my image, but also just make sure I always am putting the people that I care about first and making sure they're taken care of.
That's strong.
Here's what I'll say. As a leader, how do I see myself? Is I see myself like the shield. I'm the thing that they're going to keep on their arm and it's going to push them forward. I'm going to take all the hits. I want to make their life easy because some people can't handle things the way I can. You can beat me down. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to still be okay. Right. And I can handle that. A lot of people can't.
Right.
So I want to be the guy that just goes out there and takes on all the struggle and all the hardship just to make it easy for you. And that's kind of what I try to do now, man. And, I take on all the BS. I swipe a lot of it under the rug so my people never see it and I just handle it myself.
Yeah.
Because for them, man, I want it to be easy going, dude. I want their life I want them to be happy, And a lot of that comes with sacrificing my happiness, something I'm more than happy to do.
Yeah.
So.
I love it, man. When you think about I mean, you're crushing it, dude. I mean, I say this respectfully. Not only am I happy for your success, I'm proud of you as a man, as a person who is willing to persevere, overcome, who's willing to, like you just said, take the bullets and trend set. Like you're doing the sales, the recruiting, the training, the motivation, the patting the shoulder on and giving a hug, all the things necessary to show a bunch of people what their future can look like. And it's because of all those nuances that people believe they even have a future with you. Because if you were lighting everyone on fire every single day, they wouldn't feel that. They'd be like, dude, this ain't gonna last. And I don't feel like we can grow here, whatever the deal. So you're growing and adapting as an entrepreneur every day. But I'm honored to interview you and talk to you about some of the things you're doing from a growth standpoint. You're sowing seeds every day, bro. Yeah. Every single day. And you've been doing it way before you had the title entrepreneur, but this was your destiny. And this is just the beginning. You know, when you think about the harvest that you're believing for, the harvest that's coming, 2025 and beyond, what strikes you?
First of all, it went from me changing 10 people's lives, which is where we're at today, like actually changed. There's a lot of people in my agency making money, but whose lives have I actually watched the change happen? It's probably about 10 people out of the 60, 70, right? The other 50 are coming. And that's what we're going to see in 2025, but more so in 2025. We're going to take people that have already grown a little bit and we're going to replant them. Because a lot of trees, you know, they're only going to ever grow so tall, right? You know, but they might be able to produce a seed for a much bigger tree. Right. And those are the seeds we're going to be planting in 2025. I'm going to take the people that think they're at their ceiling, that have grown and developed, and I'm going to take them on. I'm going to bring them back down to ground zero. We're going to replant those. And I'm going to watch those people reach limits that they never thought they could.
That's strong.
And it's going to be limits that, not that other people haven't seen, but it's going to be the limits that I've pushed myself to achieve that they're like, okay, he did it, now it's capable. And that's why I have to reach such a high level. That's why I have to do it. Because if I don't do it, most people aren't going to be able to think of something that hasn't been thought of. Right. So I have to be the guy that goes and does it so that other people can see that it's possible. But honestly, dude, I think the main harvest is not one I'll be ever around for. I think that the impact that I'm going to leave is going to be a lot bigger than when I'm gone than it is while I'm here.
Stan Smith, Wolfpack. This guy is a trendsetter, and we are talking to a legend right now, even at a young age. Dude, you're just getting started. The best is yet to come. Appreciate you joining me on this podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me.
You're the man, bro. Thank you. Keep listening. We love you. God bless. Comment, like, and freaking subscribe.